in this video, I'm going to be narrating other people doing jiu-jitsu. I left the camera on and I went into the back of the school and was rolling with somebody else or talking, yucking it up. And it was on for 35 minutes, and I figured I'd make a video out of it. So here, Super Mario does the snap down to the front headlock, right to the back take. He looked like, not looked like, but it's a pattern that I've seen Nicky Rod used to use in his early days. So it's basic and very effective jiu-jitsu. And there he jumped right to the arm triangle. So, yeah, I was saying, so I left the camera in the corner. It was on for 35 minutes. I'm just going to narrate, some of what I saw, and we'll try to focus on different people, even though different people come in front of the camera and things of that nature. But right now it's Super Mario versus this. I think this guy's a white belt. I'm not familiar with him. But I can tell by his movement he knows something. But by the holes in his game, just enough to be dangerous. So there Mario spun to the back, Super Mario. He's in great shape. He's down to, 100, I don't know how much he weighs now, but he was close to 190 at one point. Now he's down by like 160 pounds. As you can see, he looks lean. Oh, that's me. I made a debut, a photo bomb. Drinking water, because I didn't think the camera was on at this point. So now Mario is in mount and fishing for the Americana. And they reset, I think, because they were going off the mat. One criticism I have of Super Mario isn't that, he's a good blue belt. Really good. But he moves too fast for what the situation is calling for. So he needs to be able to move slower and accomplish the same thing. Slow, deliberate movements that lead to submission. I don't want to see jumping around or fast movements or, he's obviously has more experience than this guy. So I don't want to see submissions every 5 seconds. Oh, there he tried to turtle. He made a mistake. Thankfully, you could tell just by, his hand fighting that the white belt didn't know how to manage the position. I hope he's a white belt. He may be a blue belt, but this is no-gi, and I don't think I ever met him. There's so many students at this school. As you could see, Saturday open mat is crowded. I would say this isn't even as packed as I've seen it. I've seen it worse. I'm not really a fan of crowds, but it's a good atmosphere. See, he's already giving Mario his broken posture. So if Mario would open his legs and climb them, he would get to some type of submission from there. Instead, he's letting this guy get the underhook, and if this continues, he's going to get his guard passed. Oh, there he opened his guard. He went to knee shield. Oh, here we go. That's what he should be doing. I call that the diamond. It's basically a triangle setup. Here he was able to finish a sloppy triangle that wasn't locked in on a newer practitioner, but I promise you most people wouldn't have tapped from that. And he needs to learn the reverse triangle, first of all, and how to get that one in tight. If your opponent's putting pressure on you and you feel uncomfortable and you're going to the wrong side, it's good to switch to the omoplata as well. So there he went right to his back and look right to the choke. Again, there's nothing wrong with this. This is all great technique, but I want him to slow it down. When you're going against somebody and you're better than them, you want to give them more of a chance to resist. I know that sounds crazy, but it's true. I'm going to get him on the channel and do a round with him and show you what I mean. You don't have to submit this guy as many times as possible in 5 minutes. And I'm not saying Mario's like that type of person or, he just thinks too fast. And I used to think too fast. So we want to learn to do is slow our minds down so we make better decisions instead of trying to make faster decisions. So he's explaining to him that he's leaving his arm out, and that's why he was catching the arm triangle. You could tell just by the motion, the way he was gesturing. I would have the sound on, but where you have 70s, 80s, and 90s music playing from my professor Mike Odell's iPod, iPhone. I think they still make those. So this is Mike Odell with the double knee brace rolling with, I think his name is Jonathan. I'm terrible with names. I apologize, especially since there's so many students at the school. So Jonathan is a strong, tough brown belt. I think he's in his 20s. And he actually lost some weight and is looking a lot more fit. It's funny. When you go to class, you notice people shedding weight all the time in jiu-jitsu, or at least I do. I don't understand, when I see a guy that's a purple, brown, or black belt and he's still very overweight. It always boggles my mind. It's like because it burns so many calories, I find it hard to keep weight on. So there Mike finished with a nice takedown, textbook. See, the key to that takedown was that he brought the knees together. So whenever you could squeeze someone's knees together, I learned this in football. This is a great pass to the mount, by the way. See how he had his left leg under Jonathan's right leg? Well, he could have went to the mount there, but he changed his mind. But I've been enjoying that lately. That was a nice jump to the other side. Whenever you're having trouble maintaining a position, always switch to the other side, if possible. It kind of changes the whole board. So now Mike's behind his arm. I like this position. He's holding his head. He has his arm isolated. There's some improvised chokes from here for sure. I've been hitting a choke here. It's kind of like a rear naked combined with like an arm triangle. So now it looks like Mike's trying to come up into an arm triangle, a traditional one, and he's defending. So the tough part about guys that are very strong is when they start, if they know what you're doing and they start defending, that's it. You lost the element of surprise, so to speak. And now they can muscle out of it. Now, even if they can muscle out of it, it's still going to wear them out to keep muscling out over and over. And these are the guys that you see destroyed at the end of the round, taking rounds off because they've used so much effort. Their jiu-jitsu takes so much effort to get to the same outcome. So I'm just cropping in different ways. So these guys came and they got in front of Mike and Jonathan. But they're an interesting duo. So they're two white belts. Now, this is an experienced white belt versus a brand new white belt. Now, I think I'm going to let the audience figure out who the experienced white belt is. So one white belt is a power lifter who was training in a powerlifting gym nearby, and that's how we found out about the school. So he's another big, strong guy, freakishly strong. Now he's on bottom holding on to an awkward guillotine that he saw in the UFC or something, I'm not making fun of him, actually. I've seen guillotines in street fights with a guy that didn't know anything, but he'd seen it in like the UFC. And just from that, an athletic person can reenact it. So the new guy is on the bottom and the experienced white belt is on the top. The experienced white belt is very good. He's really close to blue belt. So So he was using good technique to pass the guard, but he ended up falling onto the bottom there. Again, a little sloppy. But white is the belt where you're going to make your mistakes. So here he should start looking for the triangle. His legs are kind of dead, in my opinion. You want to have an active guard. I think a lot of people ignore guard completely, and they become great at guard passing, and then they don't develop a guard. So as you can see, his feet are floating in the air there. That's never good. If your feet are floating like that, you're not using your legs to defend. And now you have a big power lifter who doesn't know anything except how to grab you in a strong manner. And it's become a stalemate instead of just you're not even looking for a sweep. So now the power lifter's playing like an open guard, which led to a headlock, and then there you go. See, he got rolled over because it was poor technique against a stronger, larger opponent. So now he's doing a good job of preventing him by picking up that ankle. You prevent him from rolling out of it. But I don't really know how much this new gentleman knows about rolling out. He's doing great at opening his knees and really basing. You could see he's flexible and strong, and he's making himself into a really, he's got his elbows tucked. The problem with that is he becomes, he's not mobile anymore. So he's just going to sit there in a turtle getting punched in the head if it was a street fight. So here he was fishing out the rear naked choke, but I think the round ended. And I'm going to fast forward it a little bit. You can see they're having a lively, positive conversation. And now here comes Rich. Rich has the tattoos. He's a white belt. I have a couple of videos with him. And he's rolling with that white belt that was just in Super Mario's video. Now, Rich is probably about 8 months in, I'm guessing, something like that. He's strong. He's relatively young. And the other gentleman looks like a similar type of dude, except he, I would guess, has a little bit less training. But he's doing a good job here of trying to, camp and run around the guard, whether he realized it or not. So here Rich was looking to control his arm and do the butterfly sweep, and I think he should have did it. He had the first two pieces, and he just didn't slip in his leg to finish the sweep. Like he didn't have confidence in it. I kind of try to see things like when I'm thinking about that I could butterfly sweep anybody at the right time. And I just monitor the whole roll waiting for that time. Which doesn't mean I'm going to win every roll by any means. But many times in the duration of a 5-minute roll, I'm going to hit it at least once. So that was a good rollover there by Rich. It was nice and smooth, buttery jiu-jitsu. Now, I would say, judging by just watching, both guys use a lot of strength. I definitely will roll with him, the gentleman on the bottom. I apologize for not knowing his name. This is an open mat. There's a million people here. I'm in the background somewhere. So that's Hussein teaching Nick Salmon, a brown belt competitor, longtime brown belt competitor, some ashis, or leg entanglements. So there he did a good job of getting his knee back in, so he wasn't mounted. So even though Rich went to side control, he didn't get to mount him. So there's not a big difference in their skill levels. which is beneficial for both, actually, because the gentleman on the bottom will learn his defense and frames, and Rich will get to work a little bit on his offensive submission chain, which he doesn't really have yet. Again, this is not to say this is an insult. It's just a reality. So there he's looking to step over his head with no control of his arms. There's nothing wrong with stepping over the head if you have the arm isolated and then you step over, it's an armbar. So here he gets caught in like a half-guard guillotine, and you could tell the guy on the bottom is definitely trying to finish it. I don't think he can, but it's got to be annoying. But Rich is toughing it out. He doesn't tap easy. You could see I have a few other rounds with him on the channel. I think I have at least 1 or 2 rounds. I'll include those links in the description. I have a part 2 of this video coming out, and I also have a few of my own rolls. So you can see there's a lot of mistakes being made on both parts. Too many that I really can't even keep up with them. I mean, really what he's just doing is laying on him. He's not looking for any submission here. There is no submission. You want to get your legs involved. We have a tendency to lean towards upper body when we do jiu-jitsu, especially no-gi. But in reality, I think it's very leg-based. You need to bring your legs into it. They're stronger than your arms. So that's a black belt leaving and his daughter, and she's a 14 or something. Her jiu-jitsu is amazing. I can't wait to have her on the channel one day. That gentleman that just walked by is a 4th degree black belt. So there he threw up like a last minute, like Hail Mary armbar. Was really sloppy. There was no pressure. There was no isolation. But thank you for watching. If you want to help support the channel, there's a Buy Me a Coffee link in the description. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and if you haven't already, subscribe.